Hello music listeners, underground enthusiasts, and anybody who, kind of every couple months goes back and rewatches the old videos of a YouTube channel that they used to really enjoy, but kind of over time sort of slowly became something that wasn't what it used to be, wasn't what you liked it for at least, and although you don't want to critique the new direction that they headed in, you just can't help but enjoy the old stuff more. Anybody do that? And on an unrelated note, hey, check out my shirt. Pretty fantastic week this week for underground music, so no dilly-dallying, let's just get into it. And the first track this week is going to go to Zoltar with Hearth, that is featuring Skele, and at just under 6 minutes, this feels like a culmination of Zoltar's growth over the past year or so. Because April of 2023 saw the release of my introduction to Zoltar being Newton's Flaming Laser Sword, and since then, in my mind, he's been one of the most exciting artists to pay attention to. I have no idea how he is not in everybody's headphones right now, crooning away. There's a push and pull to this song, and Zoltar showcases some self-control and kind of letting the energy of the song build up. I know how much he loves to have these tracks quickly explode into distorted synths and swirling, blown out percussion, but he kind of gives it time to build this time around, and I think it's a really great payoff. This digital folk sound that dominates most of the track is a really great sound. The guitar picking floating over this kind of erratic and asynchronous beeping and glitching in the background is a pretty great blend of aesthetics. And it's probably his best written track, maybe ever. It's calculated and introspective, feeling more intimate and personal than ever in comparison to his other tracks, with Zoltar coping with and accepting the cause of his stumbling. It's pretty fantastic. And Skele is a pretty great addition to the track as well. I've loved his more folk-oriented tracks, so I was pretty excited to kind of hear his foggy vocals permeate through these gentle trap drums and hazy ambiences. It feels ghostly and melancholy, and it's a fantastic addition along with Zoltar's vocals. Without a doubt, one of my favorite songs of the year already, wrapping up with a very impactful outro. Moving on, we've got Drama Trial with Letdown featuring Corefish. The production to this song plays out a bit like an electronic love letter to the early 2010s pop era. It's genuinely impressive how these sharp guitar chords and groovy vocal melodies play off the conventions of that era of music while injecting a modern, more digital feel into them. The occasional detuning and warbled vocal mix at the beginning give it a lot of personality and help elevate those aesthetics to a fun and energetic place as well. And Corefish's inclusion on the track in terms of production and in vocals is pretty great too. His notes are sweet and buttery smooth with backing vocals that reflect the sparkly saturation of the instruments. I also love this grossly synthetic kind of saxophone brassy sound. Reminds me of something that you would hear on a top 200 pop hit or even like a Bling era record. Like, I would believe you if this was either one on like a Black Eyed Peas record or Katy Perry record or like a Big Timers record. It's got a pretty unmatched pristine energy and tightly bound engineering. It's a summer smash. Got one from Grolth with No Matter What I Do. I love the opening to this track. This super whining kind of crunchy psychedelic guitar, the stumbling and watery drums, the tired and cracked vocals. It is all such a vibe. And although the vocals progress to unravel Grolth's grievances and grief, the instrument fights against that bright tone with oppressive kicks and eerie ambiences swallowing up the back of the mix. It's a very indulgent sound that I think is pulled off pretty well. The entire track feels like it operates kind of within this calculated stumble with jagged vocals straining over awkward kicks and hyperactive and frantic guitar strums. The song does a good job of sounding bright, but also pretty stressful as well. I also appreciate the sort of swingy instrumental break found around the middle of the track that is subsequently joined by these airy group vocals. It's an uplifting and catchy way to kind of wrap up the track. Overall, final verdict, very fucking well made. JoshIGuess and Mosh dropped Forever Friendzoned. Speaking of indulgent sounds, this one is for all the emo pop fans. These blindingly bright guitar melodies that climb up and down at supersonic speed are so over the top that they loop back around to actually being really pleasant to listen to. And honestly, with such an energetic and punchy and kind of over the top beat, Josh's more straightforward and dry vocal mix produces a pretty refreshing dynamic. It keeps itself grounded in a bit more of an accessible pop influence. The writing is tumultuous, a little hopeless romantic, a little dejected as well. It's got this massive hook, brash writing, and high energy. It's a lot of fun to listen to. And additionally to the provided production, Mosh's verse is equally high energy as well. It kind of feels frantic and jagged in its delivery, and I think it's a nice contrast to Josh's more smooth delivery. Overall, an emotional track, a little vindictive, but also really fun pop as well. Eunhae dropped a new track with Like I Do, and I've talked about Eunhae's twinkly and kind of cute pop tracks in the past, and I've enjoyed them quite a bit, but I'm going to be honest, this drastic shift in sound has opened up a new Eunhae that I definitely enjoy more. She immediately feels pretty comfortable over this slack, slowcore sound. I like how weary and haunting her vocal sound over the saturated drone and the twangy riffs of the instrumental. The ghostly overlapping vocals, the sludgy groove of the instrumental, this is the Eunhae that I want to hear more of. I don't have any particular complaints about the quality of the track. I think it's all very well made. I think it's a nice, saturated, but still gentle experience. But if I had to make one note, I would say that I just wish that it was about 5 minutes longer. This is what Eunhae needs to keep doing. Got a dream team put together with mistmurk, Suroki, halfTrue, and danielxo on prosody. With Misty at the helm here, it's a pretty seamless experience. The production has got such a delicate and blissful atmosphere with these damp key hits, twinkly bells, rattling drums. I mean, it all sounds gorgeous. Kind of similar to the Drama Trial track, it kind of reminds me of like a bygone era of electronic pop with kind of more modern sensibilities pushed into it, but in this case, just a kind of different era of pop that it reminds me of. The relaxed vocals mesh well with the glowing complexity of the track, which is honestly a bit of a deceptive ascent considering how easy on the ears everything is to listen to. This shift in production into these warbled synths and glitched out backing vocals halfway through is pretty exciting as well. I love the flow of this track. Everything just transitions really nicely. Everything is so well structured and put together. I've talked about mistmurk sound as a sort of indie electronic sound, and even here it's being labeled as indie dance, so tomato tomato. And I appreciate how much time has been dedicated to cultivating this unique sound. I think all of these artists, one, work really well together, bounce off of each other's energies and contributions incredibly well, but also I just think it's a nice song to listen to. It's very pretty. And wrapping up, we've got Father Koi with Locket. The opening vocals feel very grand and dramatic. They set a really nice deep tone for the track. It's a playful electronic rock track that weaves together textures pretty well, from the resonant and deep vocals, the droning and heavy bass textures, the chugging guitar, the playful acoustic strums. It also has this brief baroque sounding bridge that's a really nice addition to the sonic palette of the track. But out of all of these well blended textures that finalize into a pretty accessible pop rock sound, the vocals for me shine out of anything else. I mean, they sound fucking fantastic here. It's well written with a good balance between emotional appeal and just overt catchiness, and feels industry ready in the best way possible. Well, that's going to do it for this week. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed these songs, and if you haven't listened to them, go listen to them and come back and tell me how you feel about them. And if you've already listened to them, well then, comments are down there. Tell me how you feel about them. Do all the normal YouTube stuff. Comment, like, subscribe, share, do whatever you want. It's up to you. I can't make you do anything, but please. Catch me in the next video where I prove that elves are real and they are in fact not on our side. Bye.